pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to WhySdat 2.0. And now for today, there's quite a few new questions that I'm simply going to go through today. And the first question that I got here is basically number 8 out of 65. And it is in fact the first question that talks about Samson the Pug. Of course, if you're not entirely familiar with this, then well, full disclosure, the question simply asks, why is that Samson currently has diabetes, plus an anomaly of other side effects? And this was in fact submitted to me weeks before Samson's death on April 19th, 2020. And what I'll say for that is that I'll surely just go ahead and give you the answer really quickly. Samson has had diabetes. Because, trust me or not on this, it actually occurs naturally in some animals and people, mostly due to old age. But there's some times in life where blood sugar levels just randomly change or radically switch patterns. Because for the most part, being that I'm a 21-year-old at this point, my blood sugar level is actually very stable. And it's no surprise given to the fact that I'm not going to have diabetes. And there's a good chance that I won't. Being that I really be as responsible as possible with the amount of sugar I take in every week or so, or every month, it all depends on how much candy I technically have. Anything that I have that has a lot of sugar in it, I do what I can to limit it to maybe like once a month at most. And if there are times where I do have sugar, then well, I make sure to drink plenty of water with it. Because sugar, of course, being that it's a crystalline substance, it can actually dissolve in water. So sugar molecules can in fact be eliminated, or at least you can prevent them from absorbing into the bloodstream just by drinking some water. Usually whenever I eat chocolate or anything with sugar in it, I tend to get pretty thirsty. So of course, that's why I go ahead and drink a lot of water and move around a little bit so that way the sugar and water can mix together and it dissolves. Ultimately, I won't have much sugar in the bloodstream in any case. But going back to Samson the Pug, Samson, of course, has had, the same exact principle. Due to old age and a couple of other things, including the appearance of some blindness and deafness that would also appear with old age, the diabetic symptoms, of course, they wouldn't start appearing until January of 2019. If you have seen the vlog in which that I have in fact talked about that problem, then well, I suggest you go check it out. It's been at least 15, 16 months since I had uploaded it. And in all the time that has passed, I can't say that I'm proud of how I managed to alert other people about how Samson has had a new problem now. But being the fact that it could have been worse, there was once a time in May 2018, just before Samson would have turned the age of 11 years old, where asphyxiation would have been the killer. Because at one point Samson choked on a large chunk of bone, and if it wasn't for me being in the same room, then well, I wouldn't have managed to get Samson to, well, upchuck it. And so that was able to keep Samson from dying from lack of oxygen. But of course the problem would continue to get worse. Samson would develop diabetes, and before we knew it, April 2020, about 16, 17 months after Samson's diagnosis was revealed in terms of diabetes, Samson, of course, had suffered from a large amount of seizures, and that, of course, was the ultimate reasoning that we had to simply put Samson down for good. Not even age 13. But we can get the idea that the fact that Samson has lived a pretty darn good life, and the fact that all of this has happened so far, there's a lot going on. But we'll never forget about Samson the Pug, as long as we ever live. Not even 13 years old Samson was, but that doesn't change the fact that Samson will always remain in our memory, no matter what the cost is. So that's pretty much that I have left to talk about this, and hopefully my complicated answer to this question here, was a pretty big, helpful source that you can use to your advantage. And maybe people can get to know about Samson the Pug more thoroughly, because I might talk more about Samson the Pug in general later on in WhyStat 2.0. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.